And when it comes to having the resources that you need, again, this is a big win so that you can facilitate and you can, provide the services that people need. Let's talk about the issue that keeps coming up, especially in the dailies when it comes to cases backlog. Sometimes we find people complaining about, service and not being catered for or attended to. What has changed when it comes to hearing of cases from the judiciary?
There's a lot that is happening within that space. And I hear you mention two things.
Yes.
The traditional court system that
Right.
we know, the very formal court system,
Yes.
and how that is working and how that is serving Mwananchi and people in general.
Yes.
And then how then that service can be made effective and more responsive
Right.
to citizens. So that system, the judicial system, as set up, the formal court system, definitely has worked well.
Yes.
But we've seen also the fact that there's a lot of cases that are filed within the court system. And, people have said that Kenyans tend to be, prone, or they like to litigate their issues a lot in court. And that is definitely then means that there are many cases that are filed within the court system. Like in the past year, we had 404,000 cases.
404,000 cases.
Filed within the court system. And 381,000 of those cases were resolved. So we had a 94% clearance rate.
Yeah.
But that is clearly not sufficient, because when you think about all the courts across the country, they are not sufficient and they are not spread out enough. In fact, in the past a couple of years, the judiciary has really put in effort to ensure that there is a high court in every county. We now have high courts in 41 counties. So there are 7 counties which need additional high courts. And of course, there are some counties which need better physical infrastructures because of the population within those counties. And so that spread of the court system is clearly not sufficient to cover all the areas. And then there are other challenges with access to this judicial system. These are those informal barriers that then hinder people from accessing the formal justice system,
Right.
whether it's the high cost of litigation or just not being able to, that it overwhelms people, that people may not appreciate and understand what that formal court system is and how to approach it and
Right.
how to utilize it so that they may resolve their disputes. So the judiciary then is going out and doing a lot of public sensitization. So there's the spread of the courts and to increase the actual physical number of courts and court stations, but also public sensitization, so that then the public, the general public, may be able to appreciate what the court system is and to be able to understand it. And of course, then to try and reduce some of those formalities. As the judiciary and the Honorable Chief Justice has been at the forefront of ensuring that we implement the Constitution. And one of the initiatives, and it's captured in terms of the vision for the judiciary, is the social transformation through access to justice. And this is the vision that the judiciary is now implementing under the leadership of Chief Justice Martha Koome. And it is essentially to rethink judicial services in view of the constitutional imperatives that have been set in, and particularly looking then at vulnerable, marginalized, and ensuring that justice is used as a tool for social transformation. First, it's accessible, it's expeditious delivery of justice,
Right.
it is accessible to people everywhere within the Republic, and that it lends itself, it promotes then that's social transformation within our society. Because when we look at the Constitution, it has all these provisions which set out to establish a socially just society. We're talking about, equality and equity across the board. Access to services, public services,
regardless of where you are,
regardless of where you are
in the country,
or your social station in society. That there should be attention and proactive attention to certain groups, whether it's the marginalized, women, persons with disability, so that then public institutions, and for us as the judiciary, to then really focus on those citizens who need justice the most, and ensure that our services are able to reach them and that they are able to access judicial services, and ensure that they are then, any disputes that they have may be resolved in a way that is for their benefit.
Moving forward, I see that the vision is very clear, and you have Kenyans in mind. There's a question here about public trust